You know, we always think of film as a visual medium, right? But what if I told you that what you hear is just as important, maybe even more so, in telling the story, playing with your emotions, and telling you exactly where to look? So that brings us to the big question at the heart of Dr. Ngo Thu's research. Really, what it's asking is, how does sound act like its own language, working with everything else you see on screen to create a deeper meaning? It's not just background noise, it's part of the text itself.
Okay, so before we dive into the really complex theory, let's just lay down the groundwork. Think of these as the 4 fundamental jobs that sound is doing in pretty much every single scene of every movie you've ever watched. As you can see, sound is doing some serious heavy lifting here. It gets you inside a character's head, showing you what they're really feeling. It helps define the world the story takes place in. And, of course, it's the secret sauce for building suspense, tension, and even making you laugh. It's like the invisible architecture of the whole story. Now, building on that foundation, here's where things get really interesting. Sound doesn't just tell the story unfolding on screen. It's actively managing a relationship with you, the person watching. Dr. Thu's work outlines 5 of these interpersonal functions. We're going to zoom in on 3 of the most powerful ones: representing, regulating, and summoning. The easiest way to think about these: they're the verbs of film sound, the actions that sound is performing directly on you. First up, representing. This is all about how sound paints a picture of the story's world. For example, think about when a character is angry. In real life, their voice doesn't just get louder, it actually gets a little higher, tenser, maybe a bit gritty. Well, filmmakers mimic those exact biological reactions in their sound design, giving us a direct, almost subconscious line into a character's true emotional state. Next up is the regulating function. And honestly, this is fascinating. This is how filmmakers basically act as a DJ for your emotions. If they want to get you pumped up and excited, they'll hit you with loud, strong, regular beats and a rising pitch. It's like a great dance track. But if they want to soothe you and reduce tension, they'll use soft sounds and melodies that gently fall. They are literally dialing your emotional energy up and down. And then there's summoning. This is exactly what it sounds like. Sound is used to grab your focus. A sharp, sudden noise, like a door slamming, is the movie's way of shouting, "Hey, pay attention to this." It forces you to look at that one thing and consider the emotion behind it. And what about that slow, rising musical score? That's the film leaning in and whispering, "Get ready. Something is about to happen." This all leads us to a really critical idea. Filmmakers are making very deliberate choices about which sounds you're meant to focus on. They are the conductors of an orchestra, pushing some sounds into the spotlight while letting others fade back. Let's start with foreground sounds. Think of these as the star players, the lead actors. They're the sounds that demand your immediate attention. A sudden scream, a crucial line of dialogue, a huge swell in the musical score. These sounds are carrying the primary emotional weight of the scene. And if the foreground sounds are the stars, then background sounds are the supporting cast and the set dressing. We're talking about the gentle rain outside a window, the distant hum of city traffic, or birds chirping in a forest. They aren't the main event, but they build a believable world and set the mood for the main action to happen in. And this chart breaks it down perfectly. The foreground sound tells you what to feel right now, like the shock and tension from a gunshot. The background sound tells you where you are, like a peaceful meadow with birdsong. A film's soundscape is this constant, beautiful dance between the two. All right, now that we've got the theory down, let's look at a couple of specific, hands-on techniques that filmmakers use to masterfully manipulate our feelings, from creating unbearable tension to making us laugh out loud. This right here is the emotional toolkit. I mean, think about a car chase. The music isn't just loud, it's got a fast, irregular rhythm, and the notes keep climbing higher and higher, putting you on the edge of your seat. And the opposite is true for a calm, quiet moment. The music will have a gentle rhythm and a descending melody, which literally calms your nervous system. Now for a classic technique, one that was born in the golden age of animation, the Mickey Mouse effect. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. The music and the sound effects are perfectly synchronized to every little physical action happening on screen. This creates this super tight one-to-one connection between sight and sound. When a character tiptoes, you might hear little pizzicato strings. When they fall, you get that classic descending slide whistle. Now, this can be used to heighten drama, but as you might guess from the name, it's an absolute go-to for physical comedy.
But for more sophisticated humor, the real secret isn't about matching the sound to the action. No, it's about creating a deliberate and often hilarious mismatch. And this is an idea that's been around for decades. As these film theorists pointed out way back in 1957, the real comedy comes from contradiction. A fantastic example is in The Gruffalo. You see this snake that's supposed to look dangerous, but the music playing over it is this silly, goofy snake charmer tune. Your eyes see a threat, but your ears hear a punchline. That clash is what makes you laugh. So after all this, what's the ultimate takeaway? How should we really think about the role of sound when we're watching a movie?
Well, the biggest takeaway is this. We have to stop thinking about film sound as just background noise and start seeing it for what it truly is, a powerful semiotic resource. Now, semiotic resource is a fancy term, but all it really means is that sound is a system of signs, just like language, that filmmakers use deliberately to create and communicate meaning.
It is an active meaning maker. It collaborates intimately with the visuals, with the dialogue, and with the rhythm of the editing. All of these elements have to work together to build the complete narrative experience. Sound isn't an afterthought. It's a co-author of the story. So if you're going to remember just one thing from all this, let it be this. Film sound isn't just an acoustic background for the story you see. In so many ways, it is the story. It is a narrative voice telling you where to look, how to feel, and what it all really means. And that idea, it completely reframes the whole experience of watching a movie, doesn't it? It leaves you with one final thought to take with you to your next movie night. Are you just watching the film, or are you truly listening to it?